What if the most sacred promise your soul ever made could be shattered by a single human choice? What if the person you believed was your divine counterpart could, with one final act of silence, unravel the very fabric of a cosmic agreement? This is the haunting question that echoes in the stillness after a twin flame connection fractures, leaving you adrift in a sea of spiritual doubt and aching loneliness. It feels like a celestial betrayal, a fundamental flaw in the universe's design, with you as the collateral damage. We've been taught to fear this moment, to envision karmic penalties, eternal separation, a soul deep scar that never heals. But let me ask you this, from one heart that has navigated these depths to another. What if everything you've been led to believe about broken soul contracts is a distortion of a much more magnificent, albeit painfully elegant, truth? What if this isn't an ending ordained by failure, but a mysterious and fiercely loving recalibration of your entire path? The silence you're sitting in now isn't the void you think it is. It's the fertile ground for a revelation so profound it will redefine not just this connection, but the very essence of your own spirit. The journey you thought was derailed is, in fact, accelerating on a hidden track, and the destination is far more glorious than your current pain can possibly comprehend. Let's pull back the veil on the mystery that has your heart in its grip and explore what the soul understands when the human mind is utterly lost. You know the terror. It lives in the pit of your stomach, a cold, sharp stone of fear that whispers the most devastating question of all. What if they broke our promise? Not the human promise, the one made over text messages or under a fleeting moon, but the soul promise, the one you felt etched into your very DNA the moment your eyes met, the sacred contract. And now, with silence as their answer and distance as their new religion, it feels like a celestial breach of contract. You're left holding the bag of your own shattered heart, staring at the heavens and asking, so what's the penalty? What happens now? Let me tell you a secret, one that the fear-based narratives won't. You are thinking like a human, not a soul. A soul does not deal in penalties, it deals in evolution. It's not a petty bureaucrat in the sky, stamping rejected on your file and sending you to spiritual collections. No. Think of your soul contract not as a rigid legal document, but as the most sophisticated, compassionate, and adaptive GPS system ever conceived. Its one and only goal is to get you home, to the state of unconditional love and sovereign wholeness that is your birthright. Now, what happens when you put a destination into your car's GPS and you, willfully or blindly, take a wrong turn? Does the GPS scream at you, "You idiot, you violated the sacred agreement. You are now forever lost, and I hope you enjoy the void"? Of course not. It simply recalculates. It takes the new data, your current off-course position, and it plots a new route from right where you are. The destination hasn't changed. The commitment to get you there hasn't vanished. The system has just intelligently adapted to your new, unexpected reality. This beautiful soul is the karmic acceleration clause in action. It's the divine recalculation when your twin flame, that beautiful, messy mirror soul of yours, makes choices that seem to sever the path. They are not breaking the contract. They are, in fact, inputting new data into the shared GPS of your journey. And often, that new route, though it looks like a devastating detour through the desert of your own pain, is actually a high-speed spiritual bypass around traffic you didn't even know was there. Let's get practical. That pre-incarnation plan was lovely, in theory. A gentle, mutual awakening, hand in hand, supporting each other through each layer of healing. A beautiful fantasy. But the soul's primary objective isn't a comfortable fantasy. It's authentic, Christed, Buddha'd consciousness. It's the unshakable knowing of your own divinity. And sometimes, the gentlest path simply won't get you there in this lifetime. The ego is too clever, too comfortable in its hiding spots, so the claws gets activated. The runner isn't running from you. They are running from the terrifying, magnificent reflection of their own unhealed self. And their flight, their perceived breach, becomes the very catalyst that forces you onto the accelerated path. The pain of their absence becomes the fire that forges your strength. The silence becomes the empty classroom where you finally learn to hear the voice of your own soul. You are forced to find within yourself the validation, the security, the sense of being enough that you are seeking from them. It's the spiritual equivalent of being pushed out of a perfectly good airplane with a parachute on your back. You can't just talk about flying anymore. You have to pull the cord. This is the acceleration. The cozy mutual healing plan was the scenic route. This is the express train. It's jarring, it's uncomfortable, and it's terrifyingly efficient. Every core wound, abandonment, unworthiness, betrayal, is now front and center, is screaming for attention. And with your mirror gone, you have no choice but to become your own mirror. You have to become your own source of love. This isn't plan B. This is the universe, in its infinite wisdom, upgrading you to the master class. And the most ironic, hilarious, and profoundly beautiful part? This accelerated path of solo healing, this forced march into wholeness, is the exact same destination that was on the original contract. The scenic route and the express train end up at the same station, divine self-love. The contract wasn't broken. It was honored in a way your human self could have never imagined. A way that required a deeper, more brutal, more magnificent kind of trust. So you see, the chaos you're navigating isn't a sign of failure. It's the evidence of a divine upgrade in progress. The path didn't disappear. It just transformed into a staircase you have to climb on your own, building the muscles you'll need for the breathtaking view at the top. And speaking of that view, while you're busy building your sovereign self in the wake of this seeming separation, have you ever wondered what's happening on the other side of the silence? What if the very energy of your healing is sending out a frequency that's impossible for them to ignore? But that is a revelation for another moment. Let's talk about the cord, not the physical one, but the one you feel, that invisible, humming, live wire of energy that tethers your solar plexus to theirs, a conduit for every joy, every ache, every silent prayer they might never hear. You've felt it pull taut across cities, even continents, a phantom umbilical cord feeding a connection that feels as vital as breath. This is the shared energetic field, the beautiful, messy, and profoundly intimate entanglement that defines the twin flame journey. It's what makes you feel their sadness in a sudden weight on your chest, their joy in an unexplained lift of your heart. Now, what happens when this sacred circuit is forced open? When one end of that wire is not just gently laid down, but actively, persistently, and fearfully severed by a soul who chooses again and again a path of lower vibration. The common narrative would have you believe you must hold on, send more light, pray harder, tie yourself into energetic knots to keep the connection alive. But I am here to tell you about the energetic schism and why it is not your disaster, but your divine deliverance. Think of it this way. You are a brilliant, high-frequency source of light, like a star. For a while, you existed in a binary system with another star, your twin, sharing light and energy in a beautiful, gravitational dance. But what if the other star begins to dim? What if it starts to draw not from its own core, but from yours, to pull the very light from you to sustain its own fading flicker? The spiritual law of integrity, which is far more rigorous than any human law of attachment, cannot allow this. A system cannot sustain such a profound imbalance without collapse. So the schism occurs. It's not a punishment. It is a cosmic circuit breaker, that sacred severance you're so afraid of. It's the universe's profound mercy. It is the intelligent, compassionate, and absolutely necessary separation that occurs when the soul's integrity is at stake. It is your own higher self, in collaboration with theirs, building a firewall to protect the sacred data of your awakening from a virus of perpetual drain. This isn't a failure to love unconditionally. This is the ultimate act of self-love, mandated by the divine itself. You are not being cruel. You are being congruent. The cord isn't cut with malice. It's respectfully, reverently disconnected to prevent a catastrophic system-wide failure, which would be you, burnt out, resentful, and empty. And this, my love, is where the real magic begins. In the wake of that silence, in the startling void where their energy once was, you are handed the most profound mandate of your entire incarnation, the mandate for sovereign wholeness. You are no longer a planet in a binary system, your orbit determined by another's pull. You are being forced to become your own sun. Let's get biological for a moment, because the metaphor is almost too perfect. Inside your cells, you have these tiny power plants called mitochondria. Their sole job is to generate energy. Now imagine if you'd been outsourcing your energy production, relying on someone else's mitochondria to power your life. The schism is the moment you are given the blueprint, the tools, and the stark, beautiful necessity to build your own power plants. It's arduous, confusing work at first. You fumble in the dark, wondering how you'll ever generate enough light on your own. But then, one by one, you switch them on. You learn to generate your own joy, your own validation, your own sense of completeness. You stop being a reflector of their light and become the source of your own. This is not a consolation prize. This is the grand prize. The fantasy of the twin flame journey is the reunion. The miracle is the wholeness you forge in its absence. This sovereign wholeness is the very foundation upon which any healthy, lasting, and truly divine union could ever be built. You cease to be a question looking for an answer and become a complete statement. And a complete statement can choose to share its sentence with another, but it never, ever needs to. So you see, The emptiness you feel isn't a void, it's a construction site. The silence isn't abandonment, it's the sacred space required for you to hear the most important voice you will ever know, your own. And as you stand there, radiant and whole in your own light, you might just discover that the most powerful magnetic force in the entire universe isn't need. It is utter, complete, and magnificent self-containment. And the most fascinating part? This very wholeness you're building creates a frequency so pure, so potent, that it recalibrates the entire dance. But what that means for the future of your connection? Well, that is a mystery that can only be solved by the two most important people in this story. The you that you are, and the you that you are becoming. So here you stand, in the quiet after the storm, in the space where the echo of a promise once lived. You came here asking about broken contracts, about the consequences of a choice that felt like a cosmic betrayal. And we have wandered through the gardens of recalibration and scaled the cliffs of sovereign selfhood. But now we arrive at the true heart of the matter, the silent, pulsing core of it all, what this has truly made of you. Let me be perfectly, wonderfully honest with you. The path of the twin flame was never about securing a person. It was about encountering a key that fits so perfectly into the lock of your own soul that it triggered an explosion of light, illuminating every dusty corner, every forgotten treasure, and yes, every haunted hallway of your being. The connection was the catalyst, not the conclusion. And when that key was withdrawn, the lock did not rust shut. The door it opened, it remains forever ajar. You can never go back to the person you were before you knew that light, that ache, that impossible, beautiful recognition. The goal is not to shut the door and pretend it never existed. The goal is to learn to live in the magnificent, sprawling mansion of your own soul that it revealed. This journey, with all its perceived fractures and fissures, is the alchemical process of a lifetime. You are the raw ore, the primal element, thrown into a crucible of divine love and human heartbreak. The heat is unbearable at times, it's true. You feel yourself dissolving, losing your familiar shape, certain you will be reduced to ashes. But this is the transformation. You are not being destroyed, you are being distilled. The impurities of old worthiness stories, the base metals of codependency and seeking external validation are being burned away in this sacred fire. And what is emerging, what is slowly, painstakingly cooling into a new form, is the gold of your essential self, unalloyed, untarnished, and impossibly intrinsically valuable, all on its own. You see, you have been composing a symphony with another soul, a piece of music so beautiful it hurt to play. And now, for a time, you are left holding your instrument, the melody hanging unfinished in the air. The old, fearful mind screams that the concert is over, that the music is lost. But the soul knows a deeper truth. This silence is not the end of the song. It is the bridge. It is the moment of breathtaking, anticipatory quiet in the hall where the audience holds its breath, not because the performance is done, but because they sense a new movement is about to begin. And you, my love, are both the composer and the orchestra. You are learning to play the music of your own life for the sheer joy of the sound, not for an audience of one. This is the hope that is not a flimsy wish, but a steadfast knowing. This is the optimism that is not blind to pain, but sees purpose woven through it. You are not waiting for a missing piece to complete your puzzle. You are discovering that the picture you are creating is far more vast, more intricate, and more magnificent than any single puzzle box could ever contain. You are the artist and the art, the journey and the destination. And the most thrilling part of this entire grand, messy, human, and divine adventure. The story is still being written by your own hand, with your own fierce, loving, and holy sovereign heart. The next chapter, the one where you realize the love you were seeking was the very force that was always seeking you. Well, that is a revelation that is already whispering your name. Can you hear it?